The shelter was unusually quiet that afternoon, the kind of stillness that only came when something, or someone, unsettled the balance. At the very end of the kennel hallway, behind rusting iron bars, a large German shepherd paced like a ghost haunted by memories. His thick coat was matted in places, his ears twitched at the faintest sound, and his eyes, deep, intelligent, and exhausted, held a storm that never seemed to pass. His nameplate read, MAX former K9 unit. Caution, aggressive. Most of the staff didn't call him by name anymore. They just referred to him as the problem. Max hadn't let anyone touch him in months. He refused food some days, growled constantly, barked furiously at any sudden movement. No one really knew what happened the night his handler died, but Max had never been the same. People stopped trying. Papers for euthanasia had already been signed. 3 more days, that's all. Outside, the shelter door opened with a gentle creak. A small girl stepped in, her white cane tapping softly across the linoleum floor. She wore oversized headphones around her neck and carried a worn stuffed dog in one hand. Her mother trailed behind her, gently guiding her by the shoulder. The girl's name was Lily, 8 years old, blind since birth, and fiercely curious about everything that made noise, especially animals. Lily paused and tilted her head as she listened. Distant barking, a whistle, the hum of fluorescent lights. She smiled. "It smells like hope in here," she whispered to herself. Her mother knelt beside her and explained they were here just to visit the animals today. No touching, no surprises, but Lily's feet didn't follow. Her cane tapped once, twice, then stopped, pointing toward the very back of the hallway. "What's down there?" she asked. The shelter volunteer hesitated. That dog isn't friendly, sweetheart. He's not like the others." Lily smiled gently, still facing the dark hallway. "Then he's the one I want to meet." Before anyone could stop her, she turned and began making her way toward Max's kennel, step by careful step, the tapping of her cane echoing like a drumbeat in a place where love had gone silent. And behind the bars, Max stopped pacing. He lifted his head, and for the first time in weeks, he didn't growl. The staff exchanged nervous glances as Lily moved closer, her small frame dwarfed by the looming kennels on either side. Her cane tapped rhythmically, but her steps slowed near the end of the hallway. The air was thicker there, weighted with the energy of a dog who had lost everything. Behind the last gate, Max stood motionless now, ears pricked forward, eyes locked onto the little girl who didn't flinch like the others. His body was tense, ready to lunge or retreat, but something in him hesitated. Maybe it was the way she moved, calm, fearless, or the way she tilted her head toward him, as if she could see him, not with eyes, but with something deeper. Lily paused just in front of his kennel. Her cane gently touched the gate, and she smiled. "Hi," she said softly, her voice like a breeze that didn't threaten. "Are you the one no one wants to love?" Max let out a low, guttural growl, not aggressive, but uncertain. It rumbled deep in his throat, more warning than rage. One of the volunteers started to step forward, but Lily's mother reached out and gently stopped her, watching with wide, anxious eyes. "I'm Lily," the girl said, kneeling slowly. She placed her cane beside her and sat cross-legged, only inches from the cage. "I know what it's like when people look at you like you're different, like you're broken." Her small hand reached out toward the bars, fingers trembling only slightly. "But I'm not afraid of you." Max's ears flicked back, and he let out a sharp huff through his nose. He took one step forward, another, then stopped, nose just inches from the bars where her hand waited. Everyone held their breath. Lily whispered, "You're not bad, you're just hurting." The dog didn't growl this time. He leaned forward, sniffing the delicate fingers stretched toward him. His massive head hovered near her palm, and then, gently, he pressed his nose against her skin. Lily gasped softly, not in fear, but in wonder. "See," she whispered, "you're still good." From the viewing window behind them, a staff member murmured, "He's never done that, not once." And in that moment, something shifted. Not just in Max, but in everyone watching. The door creaked open slowly as the head volunteer, hesitant but moved by what she'd witnessed, allowed Lily to step inside the kennel. Her mother stayed close by, heart pounding in her chest, ready to rush in if anything went wrong. But Lily didn't seem worried. Her little fingers gripped the edge of the doorway for balance, and her feet felt for the floor as she stepped into the space that had scared off every visitor before her. Max stood frozen in the far corner, his muscles coiled tight, unsure of what this little girl wanted, unsure whether to trust her or run. Lily walked in slowly and then stopped, sensing the tension. She didn't speak right away. Instead, she lowered herself gently onto the cold, concrete floor and sat with her legs folded beneath her. "It's okay," she said finally, her voice barely louder than a whisper. "I won't come closer. You don't have to be afraid of me." Max growled, but it was softer than before, like the last embers of a fire that had lost its fury. He didn't move, he just watched. "I used to be really scared too," Lily continued. "When I lost my sight, everything changed. I couldn't see my mom's face when she cried, or the sky when the sun came out. People treated me like I was fragile, like I was broken, but I'm not." She reached down and clutched the stuffed dog in her lap. "I just needed someone to believe in me, someone to sit beside me and not walk away." She gently placed the stuffed toy down beside her and opened her arms just slightly, not wide, not forward, just enough for Max to see the offer. "I don't know what you've lost," she said, tears welling in her blind eyes, "but I know it hurts, and I know what it feels like to not trust anyone anymore." There was a long silence. Then, slowly, Max inched forward, one paw at a time, his breathing shallow. He approached her cautiously, sniffing the air, drawn by the gentleness in her voice, the stillness in her body. Then, in one fragile, world-stopping moment, he leaned in and pressed the side of his face into her small chest. Lily wrapped her arms around him without hesitation, and the fierce German shepherd, feared and forgotten, collapsed into her hug, trembling, vulnerable, and finally at peace. The days that followed felt like watching spring return to a long, frozen world. Lily came to the shelter every afternoon, her steps now familiar to Max, her presence like sunlight breaking through clouds. Each time she entered, Max's ears perked up, tail wagging in cautious rhythm. At first, the staff couldn't believe it. This same dog who once barked viciously at anyone who passed now whined softly when Lily left, pressing his nose against the gate until she returned. They began taking short walks together in the shelter garden. Lily held a special harness while Max walked beside her, careful and calm, adjusting his pace to hers as though he understood her every movement. It was a sight no one could ignore. A little blind girl guiding a powerful, once violent dog, and a once lost dog gently guiding her in return. They didn't need words. Their connection was something deeper, something made of pain, patience, and the unspoken understanding of two souls who had been broken by the world, but not by each other. Lily named him Hope. "He's not scary," she told the shelter manager one afternoon. "He just didn't know anyone still cared." The manager watched them play, Lily giggling as Hope gently nuzzled her hands, the two of them moving like one. It was more than remarkable, it was healing in motion. People from the neighborhood started stopping by, asking about the dog with the blind girl. Volunteers who once avoided Max now offered him treats through the gate. A war veteran who'd once worked with K9 units watched them from a bench, his eyes wet with memory. "That girl," he said quietly, "she gave him back his soul." Even Lily's mother, who had once stood back with fear, now knelt beside Hope, brushing his fur as he leaned into her with a calm that felt like gratitude. The transformation wasn't just in the dog, it was in everyone around him. Hope had once been trained to protect. Now he was learning how to love, and in doing so, he was teaching others to open their hearts too. The adoption day was quiet, almost sacred. There was no big announcement, no ceremony, just a signed paper, a heartfelt thank you, and one forever home being made whole. Hope, no longer the angry, snarling shadow in the kennel, leapt into the back seat of Lily's mom's car without hesitation. His eyes no longer burned with fear, but with something softer, trust. The ride home was peaceful, Lily's tiny hand resting on his back as she hummed a tune he now recognized. At their house, Hope took cautious steps into the backyard, sniffing the breeze, ears flicking at the distant chirps of birds. Lily followed him, her cane tapping the grass, but she didn't need to feel her way this time. She knew he was just ahead, guiding her with every silent footstep. That evening, as the sun dipped low and golden light washed over the fence, Lily sat under the old oak tree in their yard. Hope curled beside her, his head resting on her lap. Her fingers moved gently through his fur as she spoke softly to him about her day, her dreams, her favorite songs. He listened, eyes closed, as if he understood every word. Inside, her bedroom had a new bed, right next to hers. Hope didn't need to be asked twice. Each night, he laid there, alert but calm, a silent guardian of the girl who had seen him without fear. No more cages, no more warnings taped to his kennel, just the sound of her breathing, steady and safe. And one night, as the wind rustled the trees and sleep gently pulled at her eyes, Lily whispered, "They said you were too broken to love, but I think you just needed someone who couldn't see your scars, to feel your heart." Hope let out a low sigh and pressed his nose against her hand. Outside, the stars blinked on one by one. Inside, two broken souls, one who had lost his partner and one who had never seen light, rested in perfect peace. In finding each other, they'd found what the world had nearly stolen from them both: love, belonging, and the gentle power of being truly understood.